record. Hello, everybody. Welcome back, you beautiful unicorns. So today we have a very interesting topic, which involves guilt and shame versus confidence, which we all need more of, or actually, we all want more of. Um, and we all have access to it. And confidence is actually a skill. Now that I'm thinking about it, guilt and shame in the way can also be kind of referred to as a skill because we learn it and we become really, really good at utilizing the skill of feeling guilty and feeling shame, where we can almost apply it into every situation that we're exposed to. Like, I can sit here and I can feel ashamed or guilty of not having my hair done the proper beautiful way how some people do, or having my daughter's headband, or this cute little thing. I put it on because I had a call with Hannah today, and she had the same thing. I'm like, oh my god, but a different color. I'm like, oh my god, I have that right there. I'm gonna put it on. But I can't sit here and really feel guilty or ashamed of myself. I really feel it because it's a skill and I have access to it. But I choose to come from, utilize the skill of confidence and practice that skill and embody that skill and slowly eliminate to the best place of elimination that I can of the guilt and shame and embarrassment. So Bethany and I were talking about, our kids, our sons, who love to run around naked. And that's why, like, okay, let's just press record because this is awesome. So where we were at, because we like to have a conversation before we get in, and just to raise the energy and to get in the flow, get in the zone, and then hop on, push record and say let's go. So where we were was this, that I was saying that I can feel embarrassed by my child running around naked. But I'm like, no, I don't. That's a lie. I can be concerned about him running around naked because, one day he might be a nudist or, walk around his house naked. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, I'm not concerned about that either. I'm actually proud of my damn kid for having that confidence that he can carry through his entire life of him being in his skin and not having, not feeling ashamed, not feeling embarrassed, because those are all taught to us. Like, none of us are actually born feeling ashamed of the way that we look and the way that we talk, the way that we come across. None of us are born that way. It's taught to us. This skill, if we're going to be calling it that, or this feeling and emotion, because that's what it actually is. It's a feeling. So as confidence really is a feeling, and yet it is considered to be a skill. So might as well label all the feelings and emotions as skills. Well, why not? Let's go there, right? So I would be okay with my son walking around his house butt naked. He's obviously not going to go outside butt naked, because that's where he would feel that sense of shame and embarrassment from other people based on, the things that they watch, they're exposed to, what they hear outside of school as well from their friends. But I don't want him to feel that way in the house. Does he do that all the time? No, not anymore. Right. But once in a blue moon, he does. And we just remind him, you got a sister, for her, can you put at least some underwears on? Right? And then this is where I know Bethany can add quite a bit with her experience with her son and his butt nakedness.
So. Oh, yeah. So with my son, he likes to, in the mornings when he's getting out of his pajamas, he likes to just run around naked. And at first, for me, it was kind of like, oh, well, get your clothes on, but he doesn't have, someone else like how Ethan does, like with his sister. He doesn't have that here. So I had to kind of stop myself from putting on that guilt and shame to him because it's like, well, why? Like, he could be naked, like, but as long as he knows there's a time and place for to be naked, and he's not doing that around his friends, which he never does, which I'm extremely grateful for, because you never know, with boys especially there. But it also showed me his confidence and how much confidence he has in himself, which really truly inspires me to see that, because he's just like, what? Well, I like this is what I like doing. And this morning when I was like, well, let's put on some clothes now, he kept going to play with the toy, and I would kind of correct him, and then I was like, you know what, I have to stop myself, because like I was saying, I don't want to put that guilt and shame on him being in his birthday suit, like, I don't want that there. I want him to exuberate his confidence always. And so it's just, it's really inspiring to me and motivates me for my own self-confidence. Now, for me, I'm not going to walk around my house butt naked. Even though because we have a roommate, and yeah, I mean, if it was just Brian, like, yeah, I probably would. But because of having the roommate, I definitely would not do that, because that's inappropriate. But really, like, I would probably walk around naked if we did, because I used to, before we had the roommate, I definitely did walk, just if I had to go to the bathroom for my bedroom. Oh, okay, well, no one else is here. Yeah. So thinking about it more, yeah, and it's freeing. So like,
yeah,
like freedom.
And that actually, like, hear you say it, I hear confidence.
Yeah.
And comfortability in your own body, where a lot of women, especially, because I personally don't know any men that don't feel confident in their body. They have a different mind, so to them it works really differently, where they can look in the mirror where with the belly, and they just see past that suit. You know what I mean? And I love and I admire that. But we as women, for how many generations have we been programmed to look a certain way? And that's the only way that we will fit into the society. And and that's a challenge for women especially. And embracing your birthday suit.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like you're doing. I myself used to, I got like a tickle in my throat. I used to have a really difficult time even leaving the bathroom without a towel on. Now I really got a tickle in my throat.
Yeah, the little, it's maybe your throat chakra clearing out. You get the little tickle.
Yeah, it's like in my eye.
Yeah. Right. And what I want to add to what you were saying, it's like with everything that we see in social media and like TV and like magazines and all that, like, it's programming us women to like have this image, like we have to look a certain way to be sexy and attractive, but in all reality, no, just being yourself and loving yourself and having the confidence and being you is sexy and beautiful in itself. And it sucks though, at the same time that outside source does that to so many women and young girls, because I used to not have confidence. Man, I was very, very down on myself. I didn't like myself at all. And it took a lot of work, but now, like, I love myself and I love showing off my confidence to the world. And I sometimes hold back, but I'm learning to not hold back and just be like, hey, this is me. Like, and I love myself.
Yeah.
And show that confidence, because it's inspiring. Like, yeah. With you, Yana, in the past, I looked to you for that inspiration, because you've always exuberated that confidence. And it showed me, like, Yeah, you're welcome. But it just showed me like, wow, I can have that too, no matter what. And I noticed as the confidence came, just those negative images kind of just fly away, and the guilt and shame fly away.
Yeah, because what really it comes down to is checking your thoughts and the words that you're saying, whether out loud or in your thoughts, and checking them at the door and questioning them and questioning their validity. Is it true? Is it not? And where is this lie coming from? Because I love what you said, being you is sexy, because it is. No matter your body shape and size, you're sexy and you were meant to be this way. At least now, if you don't want to be that way, you can change it. You can change it. It's completely up to you. Nobody can come in and do it for you. Because if that was the case, then how would you know how to maintain it? You wouldn't know how to maintain it, because it's like, I don't know, somebody planted, let's say, a garden. Somebody came into your backyard, did a garden, and give you, and didn't say what they did. Didn't say what's planted there, what kind of water it needs, how much water it needs, doesn't need a fertilizer or anything, maybe it doesn't need shade or anything. They didn't tell you anything. They just came in, did the work, and left. Same thing with the body. Somebody came in, did all the work for your body, and took your consciousness out, put their consciousness in, because that's really what we need, like the mindset. That's the consciousness, right? And then got your body to a place where you wanted it to be, and then took their consciousness out, put yours in. What are you gonna do from there on? Like, that's why I say consciousness is the key. Mindset is the key. Awareness is the key to that success of who you want to become. Whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally, successfully, however you want to define it, right? Whatever it is that you're striving towards. And if that person was able to get your body to that place, they had a specific mindset. Yeah. They had a specific kind of awareness and consciousness that they knew that it was possible. And determination, right? There is quite a lot in there, but it also comes from a place of confidence. Confidence also comes from a place of knowing. Like, for example, you're building a business. If you don't believe you can, you're not confident. But if you believe that you can build a business, that means you're confident that you can build your business. Motherhood. I wasn't particularly confident in being a mother in the beginning. Am I now? Yes, because I've learned to trust myself, and I've learned that I can do no wrong. Why? I can say that is because I constantly educate myself, and I constantly check myself and my thoughts at the door, and I constantly want to improve, and I constantly show up for my children, and I constantly make sure that whatever comes out of my mouth and my energy as well is the way that I want it to be, based on the kind of children I want to raise, which is really becoming aware of everything that's happening on the inside, right? And if I'm not feeling the greatest, I'm not necessarily going to sit there and spend time with my kids doing the work that I know is going to just make me snap. So I will work around my energy as well, and their energy. So being you is sexy. Own yourself. Try out walking around in your birthday suit. I know I talked about this a little bit, I touched up upon this topic with Rachel on one of the calls. And this is something that I started doing, because like I mentioned before I would not be able to even leave the bathroom unless I had a towel on, so nobody could see. And then little by little, I started, leaving the towel in the bathroom. Of course, with the locked door so the kids don't come in, because it's not necessarily appropriate for especially my son, because I personally don't have a problem with my daughter seeing me because she's a woman as well. She's aware, and it will help her to see that confidence as well. So she's able to do that. But when it comes to our son, that's an entirely different story. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure everybody knows what I mean. So I'm able to walk out when they're not home. I can walk around the house with nothing on. Whereas before, I would not be able to do that. The sheer thought of it would make me sweat. Like, I kid you not, I would get so hot. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What if somebody just comes through the window and starts looking at me and they'll see me for the fat cow that I am? See the language that I was using of myself? And whereas now I'm like, I'm sexy the way that I am. Do I look the way that I wished I did? That I'm working towards? No, I don't look that way yet, but I am working towards it. I am moving in the direction. I can see progress. I can feel progress. And that is, enjoying the journey, enjoying the progress. That's the key as well to building that confidence. Because if I continue to just look at the end result and focus on that, and I'm not there yet, then I'm never going to get there. It starts with a little bit of acceptance and then trust and confidence in yourself and belief that you can get there, you will get there, just a little bit at a time. And the other quote that popped into my mind is this, because you mentioned, Bethany, we were all naked, right? Like a birthday suit. And the quote that I heard that really stuck with me, it was in a song that I've been hearing many, many times, but it never really clicked. And until one day I was like, oh my God, this is genius. And it is so true. We were all born naked and everything else is drag. Like, let that sit in there for a minute. We were all born naked. All animals are born naked. If you dress up your animal, they're technically in drag. You put makeup on your animal, that's drag. That's dress up, right? So, and this is where like I can feel my arms heating up, because I know there's going to be some people that will say, oh my God, I can't stand drag queens, but we can learn a lot from them. Like, how much confidence do they have to be able to dress up as a woman and go out there and put on an awesome goddamn show for everyone? Like, that is pure confidence. You want to learn confidence? Watch these shows.
Yeah, I love watching like the drag queen shows, because it really, you're so right. It's just, they exuberate confidence. And I like watching, different men that are drag queens that will put it up, they'll do like the makeup tutorials and they put on the makeup and they're just like owning it. And I'm just like, ooh, get it? Like, hell yeah, like it just, and then it shows me more confidence. And there's something I wanted to add when we were talking about, the kids with confidence, and something that sticks with me. It's like when your kids are mirrors of your confidence.
Yes.
So when they're confident, then it shows that you're confident, really. Yeah. And so
very true, actually. Interesting you bring that up, because my kids can talk to anyone as long as the person responds back, because after a while they're like, you're boring, you're not responding back, you're not talking to me. But they can talk to anyone. They are comfortable in communicating and getting their point across, even if it takes them a little while. I tell them, don't give up, keep going. Right? They've watched me do a lot of live videos, especially in the beginning where I was really like anxious and stressed, and I had them in there with me, and where they got to practice. But you're very, like, that's very true. that we can see how confident a parent is by looking at their kids.
Yeah, because if you see like a kid that like is hiding all the time and isn't expressing themselves, I do notice that and I'm not trying to put any shade for anyone that, you know, may not feel confident. But a lot of the times they're not confident. And I say that because when I didn't have my confidence, I noticed that my son wasn't as confident with stuff. And as my confidence grew, I noticed his confidence grew as well. And to where it's just like that mirror where I'm like, ooh, this is awesome to see, because you can see yourself as well, because your kids are always around you. They mirror you in everything you do. And it's a funny thing that I was telling you about earlier. So I have this calendar with a sloth, and it's like this yoga sloth, and each month it's a different yoga move. And this was a handstand with the legs out, and there was the tail. And I was, you know, oh, that's so funny. I said it to my husband, and now my son always says it. And I don't know, to me, that just like also shows little confidence with, you know, how he's able just to like just say things that he means, and just he wants to be funny, and he wants to give you humor and make you laugh when he notices maybe things are a little tense. Yeah.
Because they pick up on things, right? And I also wanted to mention that there is always an exception, right? So there are some parents that are very confident and very outgoing, but the child isn't.
Yeah.
So there's always an exception to every rule. I guess that's the quote. And it also does come down to the child themselves and who they were born to be. And some children are more observers. And what's the word? Trying to remember what the label is. The word introverts. I remember. So some children are more introverts, and both parents can be extroverts, but the child is an introvert, and that is okay. They will come to their own ripeness, you know, their own time when they are ready to either explore the extrovert life, or, you know, the way that extrovert lives and shows up, or not. They might embody the extrovert, or they might not. They'd be somewhere in between. And then there's also the other way where some children are very extroverted, and then later on in life, they become introverts. And especially right now with everything that's going on, there's a lot of extroverts who have become introverts. Whereas before, up until COVID, there was a lot of introverts coming out and becoming extroverts. And now it's the other way around, right? A lot more people are spending time with themselves, and I'm starting to like it, where they don't have to go out, they don't have to socialize, they don't have to communicate with other people, and they do their own thing. And they're confident in knowing that they don't need anyone because they've had that taste and now they don't want it. Or the other way around. There's also, during this time, there's a lot of introverts that came out and decided to be extroverts. So again, it's not just because of COVID. COVID just, you know, kind of allowed people to explore different avenues of how to communicate, how to put themselves out there, how to connect with people, or reconnect with people. But at the end of the day, we're all going through our own stages. The way that we already have pre-chosen before we were even born, right? So there was that. And as for kids, they, like we said before, they're never ashamed of their body, which means that they're comfortable and confident and proud of their body. They don't believe they need to hide it and cover it up until they're told otherwise. Yeah. And then when they're told otherwise, then they start putting things on. And this is when the guilt and shame comes in.
And dulls that confidence and dulls that shine. Yeah.
Yeah. And they can start wearing hoods. And then the other thing as well, guilt and shame can also be created by people outside of you who are giving you compliments in a way that is specific to your body. And that can create uncomfortable feelings and emotions, which can turn into guilt and shame, and then people covering up. And I say that because I've gone through that, where I used to, I had a rocking body. I'm not gonna lie. I look at my picture, I'm like, damn, I look good. And I know I'm not gonna be able to get back to that, but a better version. And that's that's what I want. I don't want to go back in time. I want to move forward. And even if I went back in time, I wouldn't change anything. I would leave it the way it is. Why mess with things, right? I don't know where that would bring me. And I used to dress up showing like my stomach, and I would wear crop tops and short shorts and rollerblade because I was very physically active, or jog, and I would get hit on a lot. Obviously, right? You're asking for attention when you dress a certain way, and I knew that, but I didn't actually knew the consequences of that. So I had to learn myself. So I would get whistled at, I would get hit on by people walking by. Cars would pull over and try to get to talk to me and try to get me in their car. That's some scary stuff. So especially after that experience, what quickly happened is I started wearing sweatpants. My mom will definitely attest to this. Sweatpants, really baggy pants, oversized hoodies, and really just covering up and wearing the hood because I wanted to just disappear. I wanted to hide. I didn't want to be noticed anymore because it was too much. It really was too much, and it made me really uncomfortable. I started to feel embarrassed and ashamed of myself, and then on top of it, started to look around, started noticing other people in my life, friends who didn't have the body that I did. And I could start to feel, also being an empath and not aware, but back in the day, I started to feel ashamed and guilty, especially guilt that, they want what I have and they don't have it. So that's why I would cover myself up. And of course, my mom didn't necessarily like it because you went from one extreme to the other. That's really what it was. And the only way for me to learn was through experience myself. And yeah, so that's the other thing that can cause us to hide and pile on the weight so we would not get noticed.
And I had a similar experience to that. So back in 2018, I lost a bunch of weight. I lost like 70 pounds. I got down to where I was like, whoa, like I feel fabulous. I'm doing grad post pictures, do all that. But then I started to get hit on. And people would message me and just be creepy kind of I felt it was creepy because it brought guilt and shame because with being with my husband, I didn't think it was appropriate to have other men hit on me like that. And so I started to go back to my old ways, my old eating habits. I would binge eat, and I started to put on the layers again and putting on that and layers meaning weight. Like I started to gain the weight back. And just in the last 6 months, I reduced the weight to where I am happy, confident, and I will not allow anyone else's words now to affect that because I had to check my mindset first and decide, no, like I can still be confident. And yes, people are going to hit on you. That's just natural. But I'm not going to let the guilt and shame be there to bring down my confidence and bring the weight back on because I feel bad with, being hit on, because like I said, it's natural. And when you look good and you feel good, people see that and they feel that and they're like, damn, like she's looking fine. And yeah, in the past, I would have just, all right, back to my normal self, or not normal self, but back to my old self, to where I want to hide. I don't want to be seen. But now when I get stuff like that, I just ignore it and I don't let it affect me as much. But it's because I changed my mindset and changed the consciousness on it, like we talked about earlier. Because mindset and that consciousness is key, really. But I can definitely, with how you were talking like that, but that's what brought up in me, and being whistled at and like walking down the road, and it's like, oh, okay. But now I'm just like, oh, thanks. Like, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm married, but thank you. Or I just ignore it altogether and just don't let it phase me now, which is really powerful, because I never used to be like this. And it's like, yay, I'm being that better version of myself that I want to be.
It takes confidence to show up as yourself and to ignore the inappropriate calls.
Mm-hmm.
I can add to that experience where I've lost 38 pounds. And I started looking great, feeling great. And then I've noticed that there were quite a few men in my inbox trying to be friends. And I'd right away tell them, because also being a network marketer, network marketing and connecting with people, male and female, is important. And at that point, I was in weight loss, right? So I was connecting with everyone. And right away, especially with certain men where I can see that I can go in the wrong direction, I would let them know right away, nothing is ever going to happen. I'm happily married. I only have eyes for my man. Anybody watching, that still stands true. And I always have, and I always will. That's just how I am built. Nobody else turns me on. Let's just put it that way. And the moment that I see that they're going in the wrong direction, I would remind them. Guess what most of them would do? Send me an inappropriate picture. The old me, the less confident me, would be like, oh my God, I feel so bad. I don't want to hurt their feelings. And then I realized what I was missing. That confidence part. And to me, that meant speaking out and letting them know that is not okay. Because if I don't, they will continue doing it to other women. And that is not okay. Because for me, I believe it's very important to let people know what they're doing is inappropriate, so that way it does not happen to my sisters, whether, females, even if I don't know who they are, they're still considered sisters. We're all connected at the end of the day, whether we believe it or not, we are all connected. Mm-hmm. And I let them know that is not okay, inappropriate. And depending on what I know about them, I'll give them a little bit of a spiel and block without feeling guilt, because that's what used to stop me before for even speaking up, because I didn't want to hurt their feelings and emotions, feelings especially. But then I recognize, okay, do they care for hurting my feelings, for affecting my emotions? No, they don't, because I clearly told them. I set boundaries right there. And when they break that boundary, you get the boot. That is not okay. That is not appropriate. And I wanted to make sure that they knew it was not okay and why it wasn't okay and how it makes a woman feel. Because a lot of men, they don't know. They were not taught this, right? So that's why I felt like I needed to let them know why it wasn't okay. Not that it wasn't okay, but why it wasn't okay. What that can do to a woman. And then after that, I don't want to have a conversation because the boundary has been broken. And after that, it would be the people pleaser in me if I continue to have that conversation going, to try to help them. It's not my job. It's not my place. If they were paying me, that would be a different conversation. And even then, that would be terminated. Like, absolutely not. That's my boundary. Like, not okay. So, and I want to share that because we're living in a digital world. And I know this happens very, very often with women, whether they are coming out and talking about it or not. It happens to women in different shapes and sizes. And I wanted to let you know that it is okay for you to stand up for yourself and stand up for your fellow sisters and say why it's not okay to do and talk and behave in these such ways with women. Educate the men, right? They might not fully get it after you say it, right? And then you can just cut them off, and so that way you don't have to continue having the conversation. They might not get it after you say it, but then if every woman did that, eventually they would get the message, and eventually they would learn how to communicate with the woman, how to talk to a woman. And guess what? And only then they'll find their partner, because with this type of behavior, they won't find anyone.
No.
No one good, at least.
Right. Well, because I mean, there's some women like that, I guess, too. But when you have a clear boundary and you overstep that boundary, like for me, if I get a message, like I don't do any kind of network marketing. So when I get a message from a gentleman, I usually don't even respond because I know it's what's going on. It's like, no, and like you said, I only have eyes for my man. Like I don't have any other attraction for any other man but my husband. And I just know that me going into a conversation with this person, they're just gonna take it in the wrong way. And sure, I can stand up for myself, but what's the point in doing that? I mean, at the same time, I see what you're saying, for the fellow women out there to kind of set that bar. But to me, it kind of opens up an unnecessary door, I guess. And
yeah, because you have no purpose.
I don't know, like a more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it'd be different if I was doing something where like how you were doing network marketing, where for weight loss is for men and women. But for me, not so much. And so I feel like it would be disrespectful for my husband if I were to do that. And I've gotten messages where I don't respond and they send something else like, oh, well, it looks like you don't like talking to strangers. And it's like, well, it's not even about that. Like, what is the purpose of you hitting me up? I posted a picture of myself and then all of a sudden you're sending me a friend request and you're sending me a message. Like, come on. It's clearly in my profile saying I am taken. And, at the same time, it makes me be like, well, if I don't stand up for all of us women, who is going to at the same time, like how you do, like you set that, like, hey, no, this is not okay. So it kind of opens up my eyes. Like maybe I should be more like, no, thank you. Like this isn't, this is not appropriate. But it's some like, and I guess some of it is a little shame and a little, like guilt, I guess, more of like, oh, is my husband going to see these messages and think something's going on? If I do that, and that's something I got to work through because like I said, my eyes are only to him and it's been that way for 9 years and I don't plan on changing it. Yeah. But it does a lot of women get those messages and just how it affected me. I just don't want that, but it's also not my place because everyone has a voice, I guess. Also, that's how I feel. And if you don't like it, speak up for yourself. Yeah. And the way I do it is I just ignore and block. Like, if you're going to be inappropriate, like, I don't got time for that. Like, bye.
Exactly. So for you, because you're not in network marketing, you have um, no purpose, no point of having a conversation with a man that is clearly there for a reason. There are a few options. What you're already doing, ignore, avoid, or block, which again, blocking, I don't particularly recommend it unless it's necessary because um, we don't know where they're coming from, and they could also be network marketers themselves.
True.
That's the other thing. And when we block people on social media, um, it there are algorithms that affect the way that their content is shown. And you can actually fairly quickly check if they are in network marketing or if they are a coach, because if they are reaching out to you for a purpose, by checking their profile. You can see by their profile kind of like their intentions behind it. Because if they're not really posting too much, or they're too much into themselves, or this is my favorite, or when you can see that they have a particular name of a certain descent, let's say Indian descent. This is the ones that I get quite often. And the profile picture is of Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need to say anything else with that one. I'm pretty sure everybody's already getting that. And then the other option is to really just check them at the door and see what they want, and let them know that you're not here to make friends with a man. You don't know why they're messaging you. And I know you're good with words. You can do it in a nice, gentle, soft way so it doesn't come across as an attack. But everyone has their own way of doing things. And really just asking questions to see what their intentions are, because that would be the goal, the key to that, right? Or, like I said, ignore. For me, even being a coach now, even though I work primarily with women, there are men that I have conversations with that can fall into the category of, working with me because of where they are mentally, and the way that they carry themselves, where I can see that they're like, the best way to describe it is that they remind me of me, where they have eyes only for their woman and they love their woman, but they love what I bring, the value that I bring. You know what I mean? So, and there's not that many of them. There's very few. I've only come across 3 men like that in 4 years. 3 in 4 years. So just wanted to kind of give a little bit of insight that, hopefully this also helps you, and to bring it back to confidence.
Yeah.
And which confidence goes back to boundaries, goes into your self-worth and your value. What do you believe you deserve? Do you believe you deserve some douchebag messaging you and sending you private parts that you don't want to see? Or maybe you do. Maybe that's your thing, right? And then finding the strength, the bravery, the confidence within yourself to speak your boundaries and to say, that is not okay. And I'm letting you know right now, I'm not looking for friends, not this, blah, 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 blah. In other words, fuck off.
Right. And see, with that kind of stuff, for me in the past, like I would have resorted to making my profile private. I would have hid, stopped posting what I post. I would have started binge eating again, to where I'm packing on the weight again. But now I just ignore them, really. I don't usually block unless I get some men that will go onto my profile, like my pictures, and like put comments on them. And I don't like that. It's like, they're like, oh, you're cute or something, or cutie. And it's like, no. So I will block those types of people. But a lot of the times it's like that profile you were talking about, where I feel like they're fake profiles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, no, thank you. But a lot of times I just ignore it, but I don't revert back to my old self. I keep my profile public. I still post what I post, and I just take it more as like a compliment, I guess. which is a huge change because I used to not be that way. And I haven't gained the weight back. In the last 6 months, thank you. In the last 6 months, I lost about 40 pounds and I'm keeping it off. And I don't want to revert back to that old self, that old insecure Bethany, like, because it's not me.
Yeah. Now you're the confident Bethany who knows her value, her self-worth, knows her boundaries, and knows her limits. Talking to you as a third person in here, right in between us.
You're spot on. Exactly. And it's boundaries too. If I didn't set boundaries, that's another thing with confidence. Setting boundaries, I think, is very key.
Yeah, because doing it in a way that that's yours. Yeah. Just because I set boundaries in the way that I do does not mean you should be setting boundaries that same way. You have your own language, you have your own way of communicating, you have your own way of thinking, you have your own words that you would use. So that's why you have to personalize your boundaries. You have to personalize your self-worthiness. You have to personalize your confidence. You have to personalize everything. And that's why as a life coach, I will bluntly promote myself. That's why it's important to work with a coach, guys. And I can say that because I've worked with, 5 coaches now so far, and it's been 2 years. So 5 coaches I've worked with. And right now I have 1 coach that I'm working with on a weekly basis. And it's important to personalize everything that is you because you are unique. And what I would also add as an option to such characters, such shady characters, especially when the profiles are not really matching, which I don't resort to unless I can clearly see that it's a fake profile and I don't want that going further and affecting other people. Reporting the profile. I've only done that with people that are very well known. So, for example, the Ellen show, right? The Ellen gift giveaway, where somebody tried to be my friend with this newly created profile, just a couple of days old, and claiming to be Ellen's employee. And I'm just like, that is very shady. Very shady. And I don't like to report, but at the same time, being in the business that I'm in, if I accept someone like that as a friend, they can get access to a lot of things on my profile and use that. And I don't want that to happen because that's going to be a lot of work to change everything. And at the same time, I wouldn't want that happening to anyone I know, even anyone that I don't know. I don't want anyone potentially being affected in any way through such things. Yeah. So awesome. I feel like always I feel a lot.
Feelings are great. That's like the best way to be. I feel like, I feel. There it is. Yep, I feel on everything. I put a feeling to everything because that's I feel like is the true gauge of your mental state. You can only gauge it with the feelings. If you put the feelings, then you can, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling, but I think you got what I'm going with,
It's a human experience. How many species do you know that have such depth to their feelings and emotions? No other species. We are the only species on this planet that have access to such power that literally gives us the power to create and manifest anything we want into our life. And we just knew how to tap in there. And we all have access to it. So yeah, I feel like as I like to end these calls, I feel like this was a great topic.
Yeah.
Always
Me
like this
too.
a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad we went with this because we hit on a bunch of different things with confidence. It wasn't just one thing. It was like almost, I feel like almost everything that has to do with confidence we touched on. And I feel like it's going to be really informative and really growing for people that need it. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Confidence is intertwined into our daily existence, into everything pretty much that we are.
Yeah.
You know, and especially those that are wanting to live their life as their authentic self, as themselves, and show up as yourself in every given situation. That takes a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of bravery. It takes a skill of also setting boundaries and deciding how you would go about that, and if anything comes in to your field, into your life, that is trying to throw you off, that you would check it at the door, that you would not let it come in because you have that boundary in place and you're confident enough to actually set it. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I was kind of noting to myself because talking about the confidence, that's something I used to like strive for. And now that I have it, I was kind of writing out how the past me would have been and how the new me. And I'm just like, I'm really like, wow, all right. I'm proud of myself. Like that's kind of what I was doing right now. I was kind of noting that while it was still fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear from everyone watching and listening. What was the golden nugget that you heard today that just really like give you the wow, or like, oh, okay, one of those things, that realization that, oh, this is, yes, this is what I needed to hear today. What was it? Put it down below. Share with everyone, share it with us. What we want to know, we want to hear. And most importantly, I know this should be done in the beginning, but like this video, give it thumbs up. Unless you're in a different social account like Facebook, then give it a heart. I like hearts. And if you like this type of content, you can check out my page as well and see what else is there. And if you like what you see, then please subscribe and hit that bell notification button so that way you can be the first to know when I upload new videos. Like Bethany, she just, the moment that I upload it, oh, I'm going to be sharing this one. I'm going to be sharing that one. I'm going to be sharing that. So it can be Bethany. You can share it as well with those that you know can benefit from it, or with your tribe, with your peeps. But other than that, shameless promotion right here. Right, you gotta learn to be comfortable in promoting yourself and believing in yourself. To say, I provide value, and if you find value in it, why don't you, comment, like it, and share it, and subscribe. That's 4 things, right? Yeah.
Yep. Right on the money.
And also Bethany's information will be down below. So if you want to connect with Bethany, find, I think it's going to be mainly Facebook on there. So you can connect with Bethany through Facebook. Again, no hitting. We're not hitting one another. I've also been hit on by women.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be quite honest. I think that made me the most uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, I'm like flattered. And I started to sweat. I'm like, this is like, I haven't experienced this before. I don't know what to do. Yeah, and that conversation quickly ended because she was very upfront. This is what it is, and I'm like, thank you. This is what it is. No, thank you.
Yeah, you're setting that boundary.
All right. So that was interesting. But yeah, No hitting on us. No hitting on other people unless they let you know one way or another.
Yeah.
And usually people are fairly clear about it and you can sense it and you can know. But other than that, respect one another, love one another, connect with us, right? And let's get to know each other, if we're in the right frequency.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, the word. Other than that, thank you, Bethany, once again for another awesome, awesome, awesome Heal a Unicorn call.
It was beautiful. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my absolute pleasure. And hopefully this was helpful to everyone watching, especially this far in. And until next time, thank you, everybody, and bye. Bye.